Multiple births in America are skyrocketing, and so are concerns about the costs to families and to society. While only 2% of single births are very preterm after less than 8 months of pregnancy, 11% of twins and more than a third of triplets are born that early. Preterm birth increases the risks of premature death and all sorts of other issues that are costing the U.S. healthcare system $26 billion a year. Now, a study in the medical journal Fertility and Sterility is calling for policy changes to reduce the number of multiple births. To discuss this, let's bring in Arthur Kaplan. He's the director of the NYU Langone Medical Center's Division of Medical Ethics. Art, as always, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of ethical questions, but first let's talk about what's going on. We are seeing this dramatic increase in multiple births because of these fertility treatments, either ovarian stimulation or in vitro fertilization. What are the consequences?
Well, first, we're seeing this happen because women are waiting longer to have babies. Some single moms are saying, I'm not sure Mr. Right is coming along, so they're starting to turn to fertility treatment as well. Consequences, a big bill you mentioned. Premature babies cost all of us a lot of money. They're in our insurance costs, $26 billion due to prematurity, a lot of which is driven by multiple births by people undergoing fertility treatment. Another problem, you get more and more premature births, you've got more disability in those kids. We don't like to talk about it because it's great to have kids, and for infertile couples, it's a miracle, but prematurity goes with disability. That has cost too.
And this is all happening because fertility treatments increase the likelihood of that happening, and in vitro in particular, because it costs so much money and it is so rarely covered by insurance that parents end up having multiple embryos implanted more often than not. And so that is often leading, because they want to make sure that some embryo takes, and so they have more implanted, and then that ends up resulting in more twins and triplets and even bigger multiple births.
That's exactly right. So you come in and you may be told your insurance doesn't cover any of this treatment, and it's going to be $15,000 a try, which wouldn't be outlandish. That's probably what it is in most parts of the United States.
And but of course, it's outlandish for most people.
Oh, no, I just meant not outlandish.
That's the regular cost, exactly.
Yeah. So let's say that's the number. You hear that and think, gosh, how often am I going to be able to do that? So give me as many embryos as you can that I make and put them all in, because I want this one shot I have to work. So you may get 6, 7, 8 embryos transferred. If all of them take, or some of them take, multiple pregnancies. Here we go. If we looked at the cost just of even taking the fertility drugs, they can cost thousands and thousands of dollars. So basically all the incentives are have as many babies as fast as you can, because insurance doesn't pay for this.
So what do we do if this is such a big problem? And I guess most parents don't necessarily want twins or triplets. They would like to have the one baby they were trying to have. So what can we do to make things better?
Well,
I guess
you
can call that better. I mean, I'm not meaning to imply that twins and triplets are a bad thing.
Understand. Yeah. And it wouldn't be fair for me to not come here and at least have one shot at the media. Remember, we glorify those big multiple septuplets. Remember, octomom. I mean, those are not good situations. They're bad for the mom. It's risky for her. They're bad for the babies. I haven't seen a 6, 7, 8 birth situation where the kids weren't, a lot of them disabled.
Kids that didn't have a lot of problems.
Yeah. So we don't want to make it seem like this is a good thing to do. It's risky to do. What we could do, I think some centers should say, we're going to not transfer more than 3 or 4 embryos max, no matter what. It's just not safe for you, and it's not safe for those babies to be. Oddly, we could start to pay more for infertility treatment. People think, infertility treatment, isn't that a luxury? Well, if you're paying $26 billion for prematurity, throwing the $10,000 or $15,000 under health reform or making insurance companies pay for it, that's a worthwhile investment. You're going to get less prematurity and less disability. So it sounds counterintuitive, but I think we ought to cover it more.
So you think that covering fertility treatments would actually end up saving us money in the long run?
I do.
What ethical questions are the big ones that are being raised by all this?
Well, probably the biggest one of all is this, and I say this with some trepidation, but it's a procedure that's out there. If you have a multiple birth, it is possible to do selective reduction, kill one of the fetuses in utero or more. So some people say, well, let's keep transferring the embryos and then we'll take them down from 4 babies to 2 or 2 babies to 1. Huge ethical and obviously tough ethical questions there. Remember, these are couples who want to have babies. You go to them and say, now you're having too many, we'd like you to consider selective reduction. They don't usually don't even want to hear about that. Then we have other people that say it's just wrong inherently to eliminate children. This is a Sophie's choice that no one should ever make. So it's a technique that's out there. It's controversial on its face.
Yes.